name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today we are doing what I believe is an old 1950s folding camera. I think it's from the 1950s, and this one is made in the UK. Apparently every part of this here was made in Croydon, a factory in Croydon, and every single part, and I believe that is really rare because normally cameras that were made in certain countries would have their lenses from Germany or Japan, but every part of this apparently was made in the factory in Croydon, which is kind of nice. Now, before I start, I do know nothing about cameras. Even though I film YouTube videos, I just use a very cheap camcorder that I bought years and years ago. I didn't even buy it for YouTube, so I'm not into my lenses and all the different wide angle and this angle and every other angle that they can do. I've just bought this purely because obviously it's going to be a mechanical fix. There's no electronics in this whatsoever. Well, not obvious, but it's 1950s, so no, there's no electronics in this at all. So I thought it might be quite nice just to see what the inside of it, or just to see how it works. So obviously with this one here now, this is well before my era. This is, I think it's from the 1950s, I'm not 100% sure. But look at the size of the film it takes. So I believe this film is called 120 or 120. So it's a lot bigger than the films that I would be used to, because the films that I was used to were about so big, but this is so big here. And as well as that, it's a folding camera. So if I push this button here, I believe it should shoot out, but it doesn't. I then have to push this button and kind of coax it out like that. And look at that, it's got these bellows here, and this stops light from coming in. So basically with the cameras years ago, obviously this is way before digital, there was actual film in here, and when you press the shutter button here, it would open up the lens for however long, split seconds or something, and it would allow light to hit the film in here, and that would put an image on the film. So obviously things are a lot easier now, but this is what it was back then. So I thought this one might be quite an interesting one. So it says here, shutter not working. So the shutter is basically the button you press that opens up the lens to let the light flood in. I got it for £15 and £5 postage, so it's £20 in total. Sort of thing where, again, a working one would be the same price as a faulty one, but I can't get a working one for the video because it's not going to be a trying to fix video. So now let me just show you the description. Agifold, I don't know if it's Agifold or Agifold, folding camera, 6x6 format, shutter not working, the camera opens up okay, the shutter will not cock or fire. So obviously I didn't have a clue what any of this was, but let me show you what I think it's supposed to do. You put your film in here, you put the back on. Also, when you wind it on, there's a little, the film will have numbers on it to tell you what film you're on, how much images are going to be left on that roll. So look at this, this is quite nice. Can you see there? That's just a little red window there. So basically that light there won't affect the film. So that's quite nice. But if you have a look here, I believe it's really uncomfortable to cock it, but I think you're supposed to move this up here, like that, and then you're supposed to press this button down here. Now, initially, I was having a look here and I was thinking, well, how does this work? Because look, when you press this, all that's happening is it's moving down here, see, down this arm here, to this little lever here, and it moves along, and then it moves this here. You can see it moving slightly, and then when you push this down here, it should fire, yeah? It should, you know, release and open up the lens. But it's not allowing me to do that. And I thought, okay, well, the problem must be here. But as well as that, look, it's not moving here. So I was thinking, well, that's a bit weird to have two faults on it. But look, it's quite clever. I had a little look here and I thought, well, what's this about? So I managed to get hold of the instructions. And if you look here, it's really dirty. I will clean it up. But this is to stop you doing a double exposure. Because let's say now, if I took a picture and I didn't wind it on by doing this here, because you can see this is going to wind the film through it, then if I was to press it again, it's going to take another image. So if you took a picture of a car and then you took a picture of a house, well, then they're going to combine together and it's going to be a car over the house or a house over the car, whatever. So that's like a double exposure, and I suppose maybe you could do it again and again, like a triple exposures. So the idea is that when you finish, wind it on, and then you can open this up here. So normally leave this closed, but you can then open it up to see what number you're on. Yeah, back to this little thing here. So I was thinking, okay, well that's not right there, maybe something's been bent, but watch this. As I wind it on, so it's like really loose, but then it goes a little bit tighter like that. And now look, it allows me to press it down, only the once, so let's wind it on again, and you can see this lever does move down. So I'm winding it on now, winding, it's loose, now it's gone tight, and now watch this little lever. See, it goes down. So that button is to stop. It's designed not to go down, to stop double exposures. So I presume when this is all cleaned, there must be a little different colour in here, like white to green or white to red or black to white or something, that tells you when you can actually take the picture. Can you? Oh, actually, look, the lens is open now. Look, when I do this here, can you see? This must be, I think this is called aperture, which is letting the light through. So when it's all the way over here, it's letting loads of light through. And on a very sunny day, maybe you need to close it down here to let less light through. Otherwise, I don't know the effect of it. Maybe it would be, is this when it's like overexposed, when it's basically too bright? And what else do we have? We have, hold on now. So that's how you cock it here, by doing that. And then you're supposed to turn this round here, but just everything feels, well actually it is moving, it just feels a little bit on the stiff side. There you go, it sounded like it took an image there. And now look, the lens is closed, can you see that? So now let's try to cock it now. Let's press that in there, see if it does anything. There you go, see, it works. Let's do that. Excellent, right, so let's cock that, so it works at that speed, and let's now wind it on. Okay, and now, watch this, it will go light. No, it didn't. Okay, so it's still not allowing that to go right the way down, but it looks like that works at that speed. Apparently you're only supposed to move this when you have it cocked here. So now let's go all the way over here. Let's see if it's going to work now. Yeah. Well, there you go. Did you see how quick that one was there? So that is working. So now let's wind that up again. Wind this on here. And now let's see if it's going to do it. It did it. It did it that time. So I think this might just need a bit of use to get it freed up. No, didn't do it that time. So it's not reliable. Oh look what's happened now. It's gone that side of it. Can you see? So it shouldn't be that side. I think this is just all misaligned. Right, do you know what I'm going to do to begin with? I'm just going to get a wet wipe and I'm just going to give it all a clean everywhere, because to close it you push in here, close it here. This should make it open, but look, it's not. Can you see? It's not. That should just spring open, but it doesn't. You have to push it open and it doesn't really flick open nicely. So I'm going to give everything a good clean. Then I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to get some IPA. I'm not going to get involved with taking apart the lens because it's going to be a specialist job. The lenses might have some kind of anti-reflective coating on and that could end up damaging something. I think it probably is to do with like grease or something, or maybe some parts have been bent. So what I can do is, I can, after I've cleaned it, I can wind it on here and then let's press this button down here and let's see, like for example, how far should that have to go down here before it actually fires it. So that's what I'm going to do. Also what I might do is, I can see there's a lot of dirt, let's just cock it, I can see there's a lot of dirt in, so stiff, in this bit here. You see here? Well, when I say dirt, it's going to be old grease. So I'm going to try to clean that up with just a Q-tip and some IPA, but I'm not going to flood it in there because I don't want anything to seep onto the inside. I'm just going to really gently rub it and the Q-tip's going to be almost dry. And this here, this is to do with the focusing. But the slightly confusing part is, I can understand when you look through here if you were to see the lens, because then you could focus it. But I think just everything just has to be done basically. If this is to do with feet, then you have to know how far away the thing you're photographing is and move this to focus it. So I suppose this is why it is a skill, isn't it? Because nowadays you point and shoot a camera and it will just do what it needs to do. While years ago, if you didn't know what you were doing with one of these cameras, well, everything would just be out of focus and stuff like that. As well as that, if you look here, I don't know whether that's, I don't know if that looks a little bit bent or not, so I don't know whether that needs to be bent back or whether it's supposed to be like that. I suppose it's still readable, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, I suppose also what we have to do is get a torch, shine it around here to see if any light is coming in here, because if this has any little hole in it anywhere, then what's going to happen is all the images, nothing's going to come out because the film's going to be exposed already to the light all the time. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to just messing around with this. Even just now, before doing any work to it, I kind of like the mechanism. It's already a nice... it's just a nice piece of engineering, isn't it? Right, let's get it cleaned up. Oh, I just forgot before cleaning it up. This thing in here is if you want to do the separate pictures. So for example, maybe if you wanted to do a selfie years ago, you could have this pointed towards you with something coming out, press the button, and that would be the same as firing it. And also, if you look through here, it's got something to let you know how bright it is. So when you look through here, it will have a series of numbers, and then depending on what number you can see, you enter it into this little calculator thing here, because you can move the inside ones round for whatever film you're using, and then you can use the outer ones to see how bright it is. And then I think it's supposed to tell you how much feet you are away from something like that, or how bright to have the aperture. I don't fully understand it, but it seems a pretty high-tech camera for the 1950s. Right, so I'm just going to start cleaning it, and then we'll see what happens after it's had a clean. And look, you put it out there to load the film into it. See, there's a screw missing there, but that shouldn't actually make any difference to how light tight it is. So that little mechanism here, can you see when I press that button, it's just purely pushing down that little thing in there. So that thing must be just clipping on to this little one here. And then by pressing it down, because this is under quite a lot of force here to spring out, so that should definitely come out. So now, the reason it's not coming out, it could be because of this stickiness here. That might be why. There we go. Oh, now it's coming out with some force. Yeah. Suppose it might be bad just to let it go out fully like that. Still a bit hesitant. At least I don't have to pull it out like I did before. Yeah, that's coming out fine, I think. Right, so I've given it a bit of a clean up. So basically there would have been this kind of weird black plastic fake leather, looks like, reminds me of like a drinking flask. There would have been a bit going across here, and you can see this top bit now is breaking down as well. So I suppose it might be nicer to actually just remove that completely, get rid of that glue, and just have them back to metal. Probably would be nicer that way. But remember, this device now is possibly 60, well, let's say mid-50s, so it's going to be 65 years old. Do you want it to look perfect? Not so sure. It's kind of nice to show a bit of age to it. So let's try to make it functional, and let's not worry too much about having to have absolutely everything perfect. So now let's see. Yeah, see, look, it still needs a helping hand. So what is it? Is it the... I wonder what mechanism is actually sticking, because once it gets to this bit here, it wants to fling forward with a lot of force. But for some reason, when it's here, it wants to stay in that position there. Unless you're supposed to just give it a little flip down here. You know what, maybe you are supposed to put it down with your thumb. Just not so sure. I think it'd be nice just to press that and for it to go down. Works sometimes. Well, what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to put a little bit of I think I'm going to oil the mechanism. Yeah, because there's lots of pivots. There's pivots down here, here. I can see a spring in here as well. And I think that's probably what's causing it to maybe go a little bit slow. You see up here as well, you can see the spring just wound around there. I'm thinking about WD-40. The problem with that is it just goes everywhere. Do you know what I think I might do? I was going to say watch oil, but saying that, that's going to be too small for it. I might just put a bit of 3-in-1 oil in there. Let me get some of that. So I've got some 3-in-1 oil. And I think I'm just going to do each of the points. I'm not going to do these ones here because these are just lovely and chrome and they look to be very smooth and strong. I'm just going to do the ones in here which are hidden away. Right, okay, so what I'm going to do now is just keep doing this and try to work it in. Also, I think I'm going to put a little bit on this here as well. That might make it a little bit more slippery, and then what I'll do is I'll clean up all the excess oil from around the place. Maybe the technique is just to lean it forward and do it. Let gravity pull it down. Right, okay, now I'm going to clean up the excess oil. Yeah, do you know what, if you angle it slightly downwards, it's always going to work. Do you know what, that sounds so nice. Oh, listen to that. That is good. Do you know, it's even working when it's vertical now. Yeah. Right, that's that. Now let's just quickly check to see if it's light tight, and then we'll worry about this shutter mechanism. Right, here we go. It's not pitch black, but it should be better. Right, so there's definitely nothing leaking through that top one. Try the side one. No. That one looks okay. Underneath I'm not really going to be able to get. Not really going to be able to get to it. But I suppose even just shining it around here, you would still see a pin light. If there was a little hole, you would still probably see a tiny bit of light coming through. I think those bellows are okay. So this does still seem to be hit and miss. It is freeing up. But that's so stiff to move. So I think what we'll do is, let's clean this part with IPA first, see if we can free it up a little bit, and then we'll worry about why this isn't actually pushing down on this to allow us to take the picture from here instead of putting our finger around the front here. Also, the mechanism here seems really awkward. Why didn't they put it up here to move? You know, so you could just cock it, fire, cock it, fire. It seems weird, unless I suppose your finger's not going to be over the lens there, and maybe you hold the camera like this if you were to take quick pictures, so it would be like cock it, fire, cock it, fire. Maybe it's like that then. That's probably the idea. Right, so I've got it cocked now because you're not supposed to move this without cocking it. So now let's clean this up with a Q-tip and some IPA. So I suppose what's happened here is the oil has just gone, the grease in there and stuff has just hardened up over the last 60 odd years. Now apparently these numbers in here, these letters and stuff, are to do with something to do with a flash. I didn't really understand it. Well, I'm definitely getting some kind of dirt out of it anyway. Oh, hold on. Look, this is probably why it's stiff. Have a look here. It's been bashed in, hasn't it? Because if you look this side, you can see it's like even where my nail is, yeah? And now look at this side here. It's been pushed in. So that's why it's got a little dent in it here. Yeah, you can see it. In fact, I can see a little line, I think, just here. It's had a bash there. And that's why that is hard to, that's why that's so hard to move. Because it's, I think it's friction against there maybe. Well, I wonder if there's any way we can lever that out at all. I wonder if I was to go, there's not much room to work, you see. Oh God, I don't want to break the bellows. Oh, here we go, I'm under. Right, let's do that again. Try to work our way down. Here we go. And I'm just going to try to bend it up here. I think that might be it. Right, now let's see. Oh, look at that. Yes! Look at that! That's much... Hold on one second, I should have cocked that. Look at that now. That's what it was. It was just dropped. That's so easy to move now. Well, let's see if it's going to fire easier. Nice. Change the speed to there. Nice. Nice. Yes. Yes. Okay, that felt slow there, but maybe that's supposed to be slow over that side. Let's go all the way to B. Yeah, maybe that's just... hold on. I just want to see that that is working. It feels... That one doesn't feel good on that side there. So let's just take the back off. Zoom out a little bit. So, where are we now? So we're going to cock it. And now we're going to take a picture. Let's see if we get the flash off the white background here. We do. We do. I think that that now is normal. Yes. And now, tell you what, let's try to bend this a little bit, because that does look a little bit bent, doesn't it? Doesn't quite look right. So let's put it over. We want to bend it this way. Put it over this way, give it a bit of a... Now, do you know what? That feels solid. Oh, actually, hold on. I think that's just bent it back. I think that's bent it back. Right, okay, so that is... if you have a look closely there, look, can you see it moving? There. Right, we're really starting to get somewhere now. So now what we have to concentrate on is why it's not actually firing. So let's put the put it to there, cock it, and now let's wind this on. There, so we should be ready to go now. Let's see what's happening here. Right, okay, so I'm fully pressed. Look, you can see that's not designed to go down anymore, is it? That's fully pressed and it's not doing it. But yet, if I just do this, so we're doing it to there. Do you see it only needs to go a couple of millimeters more before it fires? So let's wind it on again till it gets stiff. Right, so it's gone stiff now. And press the button. Look, not doing it. But how much more do we need until it actually fires? A fair bit. So now, we could bend this over more, couldn't we? Or possibly, has this got bent this way? Do you see what I mean? Rather than bending that in this way, maybe this has got bent. So maybe I need to just bend that a little bit. Also, I just want to have a look to see what the indicator is up here. So right now, if you have a look, I can't press it. So now let's wind it on. Now I can press it, but that looks exactly the same to me. Hold on now. I can't see any indicator colour change. I'm going to put some IPA in here and see if we can get any colour back to it. Might be just full of dirt. I'm pretty sure that is just pure dirt in there. Wow, the IPA is actually bringing up the metal as a different colour. Yeah, look at the difference between there and there. Can you see? There and there. I'm just going to quickly go over it with IPA just to give this a good little clean up. So I presume this is maybe aluminium. Well, let's see if the indicator makes any difference now. So we're in between. Now we're going. There you go. Can you see it went white? It's just so hard to see, but you could definitely see it click over. So right, watch this now. So I'm on it now. There, it's clicking, but I can't. I can see something clicking, but I can't actually see any colour change. I wonder what that was supposed to be originally. Let me use a new Q-tip, a new cotton bud. Yeah, there's still dirt on it. So do you know what, if I was to put a little bit of a tap of red paint in there, then that would be okay. I think what's happened is just throughout the years it's worn away. Or maybe even, do you see that kind of funny colour there? Maybe that was the remains of the red paint that was in here. Okay, I don't know what colour it would have been originally, but I've just got some of this red paint here. Now, it's so small here, I'm not going to have a brush small enough. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to load up the bottom of a needle, and I'm just going to put some drops of paint in there, and hopefully it will stick. So this is it zoomed super close in. I'm just going to let that go hard now and then see if it can still be turned. If not, I'm just going to scrape it off. Now I know that looks a mess close up. Remember, I want it to go hard so I can clean up that outside a bit more, and also, even if you look at it from there, can you see it just looks completely different? But yet you can still see, if it stays like that, it might not. It might just come straight off as soon as I wind it. If it was to go hard and stay like that, then you can see how that's better, because you know when to press the button, even though it doesn't look perfect. Right, let's now concentrate on this front thing here to see what's going on. So I'm going to just have a close look with the eye look through here to see if this part here looks bent. No, I don't believe it does. I think that this part is perfect. So that leads me to think that maybe, because this has been pushed down so many times, that it's gone faulty. That goes there like that. So let's try to put a bit of pressure up here. See if it can be bent. Yes, that actually moved loads. Right, now let's see if it's still going to work. Yes. Okay. So now, okay, I can't press this down yet because it's going to move the paint above. But let's see if I can push it from here. Ooh, that might work now. That might work. I don't know whether it needs to go up more or not. That might be enough. Yeah, that's still definitely working there. Well, I'm going to let that paint go off and then we'll see if it's working now. Right, so I'm just having a close look at the lens and I think it's okay. I can see a speck of dust there that doesn't seem to be on the inner lens or the outer lens, I don't think anyway. So maybe that is on the inside. I've just got the aperture thing closed. And now look, if I open it and have a look this side, I think it looks okay. So I presume that's the shutter there that you can see. And this side you can see the aperture, because if I move this one here, watch. Look at that. I mean, look at that. Isn't that a lovely movement? Look, there. That's just amazing. Everything feels pretty smooth. Look at that. So everything is now moving okay. Yeah. Really happy with how it's coming out. Right, look at this, it's much better now. So, watch this, you can see that it's on black now. I'm turning this one here, and there, ready to take. Press the button, goes back to black. Turning it, ready to take, press the button, back to black. That's much better, isn't it? So although it doesn't look like a professional finish when you look closely, from a distance, that looks so much better now. You can clearly see where it goes between black and red. Yeah, red, black. Maybe not in this light, but look. Red, black. Red, black. Excellent. Bad news is, look, it's still not firing. So watch this. Load it up here. Press this down. Okay, it did go that time, but it was a struggle. Hold on. No, it didn't go. It didn't go. I need to wind it up. Okay, went that time. Load it up again, wind it. Oh, it is going, okay. It didn't go the first time. Right, let's change the speed to there. Now let's see if it's going to do it. No, can you see it's gone too far? It's gone there. So that's going to cause major problems now. So I need to load that, put that back. Right, why is it going too far? So maybe that does need to be bent then if it's going beyond it. Yeah, that's no good. Can't have that. Bend that a little bit more. That seems to be it. That seems to be it now. Yeah, look, I'm right the way. Yeah, I'm right the way down. I can't press that anymore, and it's not going past it. Right, let's try a different speed. Where are we now? So we're right the way over there. So let's put it to number 5 there. We're on the red thing. Let's see if it fires. Did I load it? Yeah, so it didn't fire there, did it? So it's still not firing at all the speeds, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of fine-tuning as far as bending that thing's concerned. Right, I'm going to drop a little bit of oil into here and up here as well, see if that's going to help it. Now I don't want to put much on, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit onto the end of here. Just in case the levers themselves are sticking. It's probably the mechanism inside is all gummed up. No, it seems to be 1 in every 10 goes or so it gets completely jammed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, there you go, 12 goes. Well, I'm going to keep putting oil in this, keep playing with this. It might be because it just hasn't been used in so long. I want things to free themselves up. And yeah, it may be just through lack of use. Maybe things just need to start moving more to be able to work properly, getting it in all the different speeds, all the different orientations, and that might get it working again. So I'm just going to do it off camera because it's going to be a bit of a long process, and then I'll get back to it in a bit. So here we have it, all finished, and it's working pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's working well enough, and I think it would be good enough to take pictures. But I think if you want to make it perfect, then you're going to have to take it apart and clean up the shutter. Because I think it's gummed up with oil, or it could possibly be wear, because remember, this is 65 years old now. So on the fast speeds it seems to work really reliable. On the slow speeds it seems to be pretty reliable, but on those middle speeds, when the dial is in the middle, it seems very hit and miss. It seems to get seized up maybe every 2 goes, every 3 goes. Sometimes you can get 4 or 5 goes, and then it may seize up, then you do it again, it seizes up again, then you get another few goes and it may be fine. It's very hit and miss in the middle. So I definitely think it needs to be taken apart to be cleaned, but I'm not going to do that in this video because it is working pretty good, and I know as soon as I take that apart, springs will go everywhere. I'll probably never get that focusing thing back on again properly, and it won't align, and it will just not work well. Obviously you need experience when you come to take apart the lens here, but I'm happy with what I've done in this video. So watch this now. If I press this down here, you can see it opens up nice and reliably. Yeah, by just pointing it down ever so slightly. And now, what speed have I got it on right now? So right now we're at the quick speed here, and watch this. If I cock it here, and then if I wind it on here and press the button, you can see it takes fine. The other annoying thing is it's slow to release, but that's not going to affect the picture, because as soon as it fires, it opens and closes. It just then takes a second afterwards for this mechanism to work its way back up. So it doesn't feel nice when you click it, because you let go and then this decides to go up a second later. But that doesn't actually affect the picture, because I verified that by opening up this little thing at the back here, shining a light through the front, and I can see it just flashes for, you know, a split seconds. But I should be able to show you that. So that shouldn't be like that. I believe that should come up instantly. It's not doing that. Again, I think it all needs to be cleaned, and possibly with me bending it and stuff like that, it might be ever so slightly misaligned. So there might be things here that are not perfectly straight. But let me show you what I mean by the red light when you do that. So what we'll do is let's cock it. Let's move it right the way down to a slow speed so you've got a chance of seeing it. And now let's wind it on here. And now watch this. If I have that open there, if I get the torch here, or flashlight, and press this button here, watch this in here now, you will see. There you go. Did you see that red circle there? So let's cock that again, wind it on, and now watch the red circle. There you go. Yeah. So can you see, although it takes a second to go back up, it's not actually that's not the shutter. So it's absolutely fine. I'm sure that would take a picture absolutely, you know, perfectly. So I've cocked that again. Let's put it round now to a very fast speed, and you can see the difference. Right, so you probably won't even see it now. I'm not sure if that was visible or not. There, hopefully you've seen the flash of red light there. So that seems to be working fine, but now if I was to put it into a middle section here, so let's move the speed to 50, see if that's going to work. Wind it on, let's see now. Okay, that did actually take, to be fair, but it doesn't always take, so let's put that on again. Let's move the speed now to 10. I think 10 is where I have the problem. Wind it on, press it. Okay, yeah, okay, well it's behaving itself at the moment, but it doesn't always, and it's not reliable on those ones there. Did that one take? There you go, no, see, seized up. Look, can't do anything now, completely seized up. So what I'll have to do is just kind of, what do I have to do? There, kind of push that down, push that in, well, push that down, then that releases that, and now you can see it will allow me to do it again. So it's not, there you go, so it worked that time. Yeah, it's not, that's not working very, very reliable, because you've seen there, it's seized up on that time. So if it's seized up then, I think it leaves the window open, so that part of that piece of the film will be ruined, because it's just going to be letting light flood in during that time, and you're going to be moving it around, so that's not going to work. But if you would stick to the fast speeds, it seems to be working very reliably. So I think I think it would work okay. Yeah. So I think what I might do is watch some videos on this, how to dismantle it, because although I'm not going to find a video on this particular one, I'm pretty sure most of the lenses will be similar on the inside, and I can already see that there's a cutout here, and when you turn around this focus ring, there's 3 flathead screws dotted around the place, so maybe if you undo them, it allows you to pull off the focus ring, and then it might have other screws that you can get to. It's just that I've got a feeling that when you do that, there's a good chance that it may not work again, because you might not be able to get it back. So that's why I'd rather leave it like this for the time being. I might even see if I can get some 110 film, or find a place to see if they develop it or not. And I can always do a revisit video on this, because it is it's quite a nice little item. So I think I read somewhere that one of the things you can do is you can have it kind of preset beforehand, ready to go. So for example, now I can wind it on here until I get my little red light there, so that's ready to go. I can have it cocked there, and then you can just close it up like this, and then if you see a photo opportunity, you can just go bang, bang, and that's it, the photo's been taken. So you can have it kind of like preloaded, ready to go. So yeah, that is it for this video. I've learned quite a bit, because I've never really messed around with cameras before. So I think it's a really, really nice thing, and I can see why people collect them, and I can see why people are into them, especially the fact that it's got these other little features here. So let me just try to zoom in and show you these little numbers on this part here. Right, so have a look there. You can clearly see when you were looking through this hole here that that's a number 1. We've got a 2 next to it, 1 again, a 0, and there's also more numbers up above it as well. There you go, another 1. 9, I think that is. And basically the idea of it is, if it's very bright like it is now, then you can see, I think, all of the numbers, and then if you put it to a darker area, you can only see some numbers. And then for example, if 7's the highest number you can see, you're supposed to dial 7 into here, and then that's supposed to tell you the brightness to change your camera to. And also remember, we've got this one as well. Now no way I can show you this, but when you look through here, and if you look really closely in the middle, it's like more golden, and there's a second image on top of the image you're looking at. So you've got your image, and then you've got another image which moves around when you put this one on here, and again you're supposed to then see where it goes to here, because if you have a look, this I presume was done in feet, and if you have a look, the very last one there is infinity, and then you're supposed to enter that into your, I believe this is to do with your range, your like range finder or something. So it's all really clever stuff, especially when it's not electrical, it's all mechanical. So I think if you were into your cameras in the 50s and you were into your gadgets as well, then I think you would have possibly loved this one here. But you've got to admit, it's still nice, and it's a nice little item. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I may well do a revisit video on it further down the line. So that is it. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye now.